Welcome to Agronomy Moment. I'm your host, Wendell Cohen. We bring in people who agree with me, disagree with me, and above all, are not afraid to say it like it is.
Educate us.
So really all we're focused on this today on plant late season diseases is just, first of all, I'm noticing a lot of dust in the fields this year, a lot of dirty, trashy beans, leaves hanging still in them. Variance in color, interesting things that happen because maybe we got a rain and then we didn't, and then the poor area kind of half died, and then good parts of the field are really coming too. So I guess just dive in this, Scott and Celena, show us a few of the things on maybe a little bit of the why that's happening.
Why don't you get some of the above ground stuff, Celena, the anthracnose and all that?
Yeah, so besides the disease part of that, like you've said, don't discount the lack of moisture or the inconsistent moisture and some of the stresses that could cause the bean to prematurely shut down. But otherwise, from a disease perspective, the charcoal rot's causing some of that trashiness that we're seeing as far as those leaves looking really dirty. And that's, are you zoomed in?
Yep.
Boy, these plants are, it's changed since we cut them.
I should have, here, I can get my knife out. But the charcoal rot are these black kind of streaking and dots they're called microsclerotia. But basically what that does is that's clogging the plant from getting water and nutrients moving throughout the plant. And then there's also pod and stem blight, which are these regions right here that are circled, and what Scott's pointing at there with his knife.
There's a good view right here. Looks like zone line, pencil line tracing.
Yep,
right
that's
here.
what I was trying to
As
think
we
of.
scrape across here, you'll expose that, just skinning the stems, and you can see that. And that's, again, material produced by the fungus that causes, I think it's the diaportha component of pod and stem blight, is clogging the vascular tissue of these plants. And you can see it's doing this clogging down here near the root zone. So anything coming into the plant can't make it up into the plant, and they end up dying prematurely.
So is that just something that's soil borne, or is it something that came in because of temperature or hurricane or something like that?
The charcoal rot is soil borne.
Okay.
You see this blackening, and the general graphite looks like somebody dusted this with graphite. It's hard to see in this bright light, but that's soil borne. And when we have very stressful conditions like this year, it's to me a disease of opportunity. It allows infections to occur more readily. Then you can chop pod and stem blight if you want.
Yeah, and then the pod and stem blight that we kind of hit on there, and then anthracnose was the other one. I think one of those plants.
Back to the Phomopsis diaportha complex real quick. That disease can cause, complex of funguses can cause lots of different issues. You can have, I believe stem canker is a component of pod and stem blight. We saw issues in 2016 or 17, I forget. We had a very heavy rain event right near maturity, and it resulted in some severe death of plants where we saw huge swings in yield. So it's a complex of two, Phomopsis and diaportha, that can result in multiple issues within plants. But the one we're seeing primarily this year would be the clogging of the vascular tissue here with the pencil line tracing.
Okay.
And we see that a lot in southeast Kansas, southwest Missouri, same areas where we see charcoal rot most years in a year like this. Sorry, Celena.
Yeah, and then sometimes it's that rain that we desperately needed, but sometimes that rain causes that influx of all the diseases we're seeing.
Especially Phomopsis diaportha.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Of course, rain usually brings more yield than it brings problems, right?
Yes, the argument.
So we'll have to live with the disease when we get rain.
Yep.
There you go, Celena.
Oh yeah, and then anthracnose, these black spots right
Leopard
here
spots, kind of.
on the plant. Usually that is kind of signified by a shepherd's hook sort of type look at the top of the plant is one of the kind of signs of that. I don't
Which I haven't seen this
really
year much.
see that here, but
You're
that's
saying that the tip of that stem that would be there would just
like
crook
at the top it would like kind of crook over. Yeah, just the shepherd's hook is one of the kind of the way to describe that, I guess.
Another way to find anthracnose, if I remember right, I didn't study this before today, you'll have random speckling. Like if you took a real fine pencil and dotted the stems at the lower part of the plant, if those dots are in rows, that's Phomopsis diaportha complex that causes that, if I recall correctly.
But what are you talking about on the charcoal rot that we're seeing a lot of, where you're saying it looks like a dusting? Are you saying when you shave back the skin, then you see the dusting?
Yeah. You can see here this general graying right here. You don't see it, but here's the pencil line tracing. that you see with Phomopsis diportha,
Yes.
but where you see this just general graying, looks like
Yes.
it's dusted more with graphite.
Yep.
That is the charcoal rot.
Okay, makes sense.
Used to be when I first became an agronomist eons ago, whenever we would see this zone line tracing like this,
Yep.
we automatically called that charcoal rot. But I don't remember how many years ago it was. I believe it was Monsanto spent some dollars to try to isolate what pathogen caused those pencil line tracings, and they always came up with the Phomopsis diportha
Okay.
type disease instead. And then so that has become now when you see the just general graying, that's the charcoal, but the lines you see in here are more related to the Phomopsis diportha. You can see that clearly right there.
And as these beans all start dying, the fungus starts dying, and you get all the residue and the powder left from the disease, and that's just what's blowing up in the air.
I think a lot of that is probably due to leaves. You take a look at any mature bean field, and there's a lot of trashy beans out here this year where you have leaves hanging on them, and we're grinding all that up. Plus, when the beans die, same with corn, if we get a wet period, you get saprophytes developing in the canopy, and that's all the black stuff on the combine. I've ridden in corn combines this year, just black. And that got a lot worse after we got the rain a week or so ago.
Yep.
And there's alternaria. There's some other fungal species that feed on dead material that blows up when you get a rain.
Okay, sounds good. Everybody have a safe harvest. See you. Thank you, guys. See you next time. The only thing, the weird thing about that is I 100% agree, and it's funny because when prices are high, we say we need to do this practice because prices are so high. When prices are low, sometimes
important.
that little tiny incremental margin is your take home pay.
That's one of the things Hannibal is going to hit. What's the cheap thing? What's a cheap thing we can do to make bigger differences?
Yes,
And
exactly.
planting day, you're going to plant.
Yes.
So,
I think
you know,
that's part of maybe what we're gonna do at part of our boost conversation.
yeah,
Maybe
should
driven
be.
a little bit
Yep.
from that. So
Well, I
It's
just
crazy.
say is that sometimes we ignore the low commodity price times, and I do, but then I stop and think about it.
Might be what helps a guy get by.
It is. I was just looking at our farm budget, and it was like some of these little things I started looking at. It's like that was about what I took on to feed my family. Had I not had that incremental change, it would have been
It's almost bean time. So I got splinters today. It's almost bean time.
lunch, yes.
It's got all these things.
Well, it's
And-
11:30. It's 12 almost.
Cameras.
No, it's not. Oh, God.
Don't get confidence. Kind of get that kind of mood where like I was shutting it off, and I just kind of.
I got that splinter dissected out.